This comment comes to us from Tan90, who says, I like your video, I just wish you focused your camera. Yeah, I guess it was a little bit blurry, yeah. I see what you're saying there, my bad. And this next comment comes from Oscar Pierce, and he says, focus your camera next time. Alright, my bad, yeah, I'll do that. Next we have a comment from Foxyless, and Foxyless says, I kinda liked the video, but not too much, because of camera focus. Okay, so I'm a Twitch live streamer, I don't do this YouTube thing very much. I sort of just zoomed in my camera a whole lot, so it looks a little bit blurry, you know, it's kinda bad. I see what you guys are saying. So, you know, I've fixed it in this video, hopefully this looks better. It was my mistake. Oh my god! Hello, how's it going everyone? My name is Skazi, and today I wanted to take a look at some of the comments that I got on my most recent video about Narcissa Wright. So, basically the idea here is that I'm going to look at some of the comments that people left, I'm going to give my thoughts, give my opinions, maybe make some jokes. So this comment comes to us from ya boy Peem, and ya boy Peem says, you're still less successful, feels bad man with a gun. I knew going into the video that I'm a nobody. I was trying to present it in a way so that I didn't come off cocky. I wanted to make sure that everyone noticed that I was aware I was a nobody, because coming into a conversation this heated and such a touchy subject, it's kind of difficult to seem as though you have your shit together and that you are self-aware. So I know that I'm a nobody in terms of Twitch, in terms of YouTube, in terms of speedrunning. However, I wanted to make the video to get the conversation rolling. Now we have a comment from a Dialectic Boogaloo who says, great video, but are you cosplaying as a 14-year-old? Yeah, is One Direction still a thing? I might need to buy a t-shirt. A comment that I liked a lot, I didn't completely agree with it, but it was definitely one that I appreciated, comes from a user called Hot Pants. And what Hot Pants says is, the main thing that's changed is the fact that her audience became far more hostile, far less forgiving, far less empathetic. Let's just get this thing straight. She had a lot of followers before she transitioned. Once the announcement happened, people started actually treating her like shit and unfollowing her in droves. Considering that this community is much of what she had, it's understandable that it would affect her emotionally. I just feel like videos like this are just contributing to the shit place Narcissa is in, and not actually trying to provide any actual support, just alienating her further from the community that she was once part of. Besides that, transitioning is not an easy process. Expecting her to churn out the same amount of content she used to while she's going through an important and tumultuous phase in her life is absurd. She's still uploading videos too, but I guess it's easier to just be part of the problem rather than attempt to listen to her and, you know, be conducive. But yeah, join the dog pile, help build Narcissa's sense of self-loathing. I'm sure nothing bad can happen. So I actually did give a pretty lengthy reply to this comment in the actual comments section, but I'm going to repeat some of it here just for the sake of the video. I definitely don't think that I fit in with the dog pile. I think that the commentary that I provided was very, very different from anything anyone has said before. A lot of people don't take the time and effort to actually look into what is being said. They just make an opinion and they stand by it with no evidence behind it. So I think that having a logical, well-defended position is something that was definitely missing from this conversation. That's a lot of why I made the video. It wasn't so much about exposing Narcissa as it was about, I definitely don't attempt to belittle the things that have been said against Narcissa. There have been some terrible things that people have said. There have been some awful things. Even in the comment section of my video, there are some awful things written there. However, I also don't believe in censoring these things. I think that people should be able to say what they want. It's just really a shame that people feel that way. This was necessary. That is all. Guess you could say it was narcissary. YouTube user 973Terminator says, I know quite a few trans people who study and make a living on their own by actually working, who don't advertise the fact that they're trans, and who don't desperately seek the pity of others for self-validation of their victim complex. That she sees herself as a voice for the trans community is disgusting and unfair, and is a disservice to anyone in the community who becomes a self-made individual despite actual problems they face. I sort of agree with this comment in a way, but I think overall I have difficulty supporting the full extent of it. I know several trans people, and I have a lot of friends actually that are trans. I have a cousin, and she was born male. She transitioned to being female, and she actually is an engineer, a marine engineer. I don't know a whole lot about her job, but basically it's definitely a field where there's a lot of people who aren't super supportive of transgendered women, and even just women in general. It's a very male-dominated field, so she's dealt with a lot of issues, but she still continues to work and be a really inspiring person in my life. This comment comes from Simple Jan, and he says, "Holy shit, wash your hair, dude." Now we have a comment from Ben Blue 3, who says, "Being trans has nothing to do with why people hate her now. It's more of a convenient scapegoat because it was symbolic in her fall from glory. Her personality changed and her work ethic changed. She went from being a speedrunner to being a narcissistic ball of emotions." To which I responded, "There's definitely people who hate her for being trans, however I agree with you for the most part. There's a lot of narrow-minded prejudice in the world." Ben Blue then responded back, "On both sides, the people who hate her strictly because she's trans, and the people who say that you can only hate her if you're transphobic, which is retarded." Now, this is definitely something that's a valuable addition to the conversation, and something that is worth thinking about, which is that people are going to pick a side based on their own ideals and not based off of the actual situation, which I think is very counterproductive in any sort of situation, really. There's always going to be the people who take a side just because of some notion in their mind that one side is superior outside of the actual situation. And that is something that is really hard to deal with, and it's hard to have a constructive conversation while that's going on. So now we have a comment from So What's Up Guy, and he says, "Why are you wearing your hood indoors?" Fuck! This comment comes to us from Sam 1600. It says, "Herfa derfa doop, my me oh my, look at me, doofy poofy Lambo Snoopy." Robert McIntosh says, "Why do you need a 28-minute video to say something that takes way less time?" Because I wanted to prove my points, I wanted to show evidence and back up the things that I was saying. A lot of the video, I think, is adding new information and giving examples from Narcissa's video. I don't believe that I spent too long repeating myself. I probably could have edited the video down to a shorter length, but I personally feel like it would have taken away from the video. If you guys disagree, do feel free to let me know in the comments of this video. And in the future, I will try and edit my videos down more. But I think that 28 minutes was a good length for that particular video because I felt as if I had 28 minutes of content. Josh Ladd says, "I think too many people are afraid to admit that they lost respect for her because she went transgender. I think she knows that too, and that's what her problem is. But it's never vocalized because it looks judgmental, but it's the truth. The truth will always be, you are a man if you are a man, or a woman if you're a woman. That's a biological fact, can't argue with that. Anything beyond that is all psychological, and if you see yourself as the opposite gender, that's some kind of mental illness." To this, I said, "I think that you're projecting. Just because you have prejudiced thoughts doesn't mean that everyone else does. I made a 28-minute video explaining why I dislike her for other reasons. I very much support transgender people, and I think that it's a very important thing to support them. People keep listing this statistic that like 40% of transgendered people commit suicide. I don't know if that's a real statistic, but what I will tell you is that that's because transgendered people go through difficult things in life. It's not because they're broken people. It's not because they have a mental illness that makes them want to be transgendered. It's mostly because of people like you who are being so awful to them because they're transgendered. Now, that said, I think that criticism is very important, but if your only criticism is you're changing your gender, then you're not doing anything constructive by saying that, and you're actually just hurting that person. That's why when I made this video, I tried to focus as much as possible on logic and on sound evidence. I was not trying to hurt Narcissa's feelings for the most part. There were a few targeted things where I might have gone a little bit overboard, and I will admit to that. However, for the most part, it was an attempt to be helpful. I wanted to deliver criticism in such a way that she would learn from it, and I also wanted to inform viewers about the situation. Those were really the goals of the video when I made it, and I still stand by them. Even though Narcissa has decided that she doesn't want criticism, and I'm going to back off on that front, I still think that informing the viewers was an important thing for me to do. I've gone out of my way not to censor comments like that because I think that's the best way to handle it, but I wanted to address them so that they're not just left there and people think that, you know, they've won by being prejudiced against transgendered people. Because at the end of the day, you're just putting negativity out into the world instead of trying to help others. You can be negative and help others. That is a possible thing to do. However, I think that the important thing in life really is to try and help other people so that they can help you. And overall, just as humanity grows and as society gets more advanced, I think that it's going to become more of a norm to be understanding of people and to try and help each other out instead of what we've been doing in the past. Now we have a comment from Cosmo who says, "I miss the old Cosmo. Had a good name but threw it away. Should have made her name Wanda. Lol. Complete the loop." Galio Windsor says, "I'm trans as well, but I do agree with your position. No matter how bad things get, that does not excuse rampant e-begging. Most countries in Western society have systems in place where you don't have to live on the streets, and you're entitled to basic needs in order to sustain your existence. These also include some very generous things." Galio makes a very good point here. America in particular does have a very good system for this. If you are a single person living by yourself and you can't find work, then you can very easily live off of welfare, and what you get from that is more than enough to sustain your existence. And if you want to be on welfare and work on something else until you can pull yourself up, that ability is definitely there. Next we have Kyle Anvilslinger, who says, "If you refer to that faggot as its bullshit name or pronoun, you have a little respect for him, or you're just spineless." And what I responded to this comment with was, you can lose respect for someone without having to treat them like shit. If she wants to be called a girl, I will call her a girl. It's not out of respect, it's just some decency. I think it's preposterous that you can't show a shred of acceptance, even for someone you dislike. And I definitely want to, I want to get that message out there a little bit more because I think a lot of people don't understand that. It's good life advice. Just because you don't respect someone doesn't mean you can't treat them well. And I think that it's very easy, honestly, in your daily life to take a moment and just think about what you're saying to people before you say it to them, especially on the internet. You have all the time in the world to write a comment or tweet, you know, you can stop and think about what you're saying. Think about what you're trying to accomplish with that tweet, because if what you're trying to accomplish is just tearing someone down, then there's no benefit to that. You're not going to help anyone, even yourself, really. It's just destructive. Whereas when I made this video, I wanted it to be helpful to people. I wanted it to be helpful to the viewers, and I wanted it to be helpful for her. And while she didn't appreciate the help, I'm still glad that I tried. And I think it's good that I did so. I would do it again. If the situation were the same, I would do it again. It's not spineless of me to call her her. It's not spineless. It's just what I want to do. And people try to defend this with, well, if I don't want to respect it, then I should have that freedom of speech. And sure, you do have the freedom of speech. You can call her Cosmo and you can call her male. You can do all that. So here's a comment from Weird User who says, "To be honest, the speedrunning community has just kind of turned me away from getting started. People like Narcissa Wright and those generally out there who act stupid and get angry just really get to me. And it's causing me to sit here and just think, what's the point of it if I could turn out to be one of those people?" I want to encourage anyone who's interested in speedrunning to start speedrunning. I think that it's worth giving it a try. If you have interest, then take a shot at it, because there's nothing to lose from, you know, putting in a game and playing through it with a timer. You know, you don't have to commit all the way. You can just stop if you don't enjoy it. But you can learn and you can gain so much from speedrunning. And I think it's one of the best things that ever happened to me, honestly, that I started. Something else that I replied to the comment with was, whatever you do, whether it's a job or a hobby or anything, there are going to be people that you don't like. It's just the way that life is. Don't let those people take away from something that makes you happy. And I really try to live by that notion, because no matter what you're doing, you're going to encounter people you don't like. But you have to understand that they're just people. They're just like you. And, you know, even if you don't like them, you can, first of all, show them some decency, like I was saying earlier. And second of all, you can tune them out and do your own thing. You don't have to be like them, even if they're doing the same things as you. Christian Hartzell says you need to get a life. Thanks, Dad. Hentai says hate you. and I think that's the best comment I've gotten on this video. Chris Dribble says, is there any other species in the animal kingdom or on the fucking planet that is capable of being both genders? If it's only humans, then it's clearly a mental disorder, because there's only two genders, and you can't be both. You need a doctor/psychiatrist for this kind of shit, not people positively reinforcing such degeneracy. There's no other species on the planet that can speak fluent sentences either, so you should shut up. Buffett Time says, how do you live off of 1,800 followers? And I respond to that with, at the moment I'm living with my parents. I just graduated high school recently, so I don't have any debt or anything. I get money from donations, and I worked for a few months before quitting my job. I'm working to grow my stream enough to make it a job, but right now I'm doing it as a full-time hobby. And that is true. Right now I don't have a job. I'm working on my stream and growing that. If you check out my past broadcasts, I've been a little bit less active over the past week or two than I had been before that. But over the past several months, I've been putting in an insane amount of hours. I think last month I think it was 12 streams that were 10 hours at least. And 2 of those were 24-hour live streams. So I've been streaming a lot and putting a lot of work into speedrunning. I'm currently at 4th place in Luigi's Mansion. I just got that the other day, and I'm really proud of that. Charles Bejarano says, why does it look like you smudged the camera lens with hair grease? Oh god. I can't even be mad. That's so good. Pastulio says, nice 52-year-old bald man comb-over look you got going there. Thanks. I also got a few comments like this one from Hazel Elaine Kogan, which basically were saying that male-to-female voice training is very difficult to do, and that I was being way too critical and it was unfair of me to criticize her voice. I wasn't making fun of her voice. I was pointing out how she was intentionally talking in a lower tone like this. It's very obvious that she was doing it for pity. I wasn't saying that she was, that her voice was low and that she should feel bad about that. What I was saying is that she was intentionally lowering her voice. And finally, I think the perfect note to end on comes from Haxa, who says, oh god, this comment section. I'm gonna end it there, so feel free to like, favorite, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, whatever. Follow my Twitch channel. That's going to be much more active than my YouTube. I do want to start uploading more YouTube videos, so leave in the comments if you have any suggestions for kinds of videos that I should make. Commentary videos, like what I would talk about, or tutorials maybe. I've thought about making some speedrun-based tutorials about, how to get into speedrunning, things like that. So let me know what you guys are interested in, what you think I should do. And, yeah, I'll see you guys next time.